You did it. You passed the evaluation. Maybe even passed it easily with room to spare. You proved you can trade profitably under pressure. The prop firm sends you that email congratulating you on becoming a funded trader. You're excited, you're confident, you're ready to scale up and make real money. Then something strange happens. You sit down for your first day of trading the funded account, and suddenly everything feels different, heavier, more serious, more dangerous. That same strategy that got you through the evaluation smoothly now feels risky. Those setups you took confidently during the challenge now make you hesitate. Within a few weeks, maybe even days, you breach the account. Not because you forgot how to trade, not because your strategy stopped working, but because passing the evaluation created a psychological trap that you walked right into. This is the paradox nobody warns you about. The mental state that helps you pass the evaluation is completely different from the mental state you need to keep a funded account. And most traders don't realize this until they've already breached. I've seen it happen hundreds of times. A trader passes their first evaluation with impressive consistency, clean trades, good discipline, steady profits. They get funded and feel on top of the world. 3 weeks later, they've breached. They're confused, frustrated, maybe even questioning if they can really trade at all. Here's what's really happening. During the evaluation, you had nothing to lose except the challenge fee. That freedom created a relaxed confidence that allowed you to trade your best. But once you're funded, your brain shifts into protection mode. Now you have something to lose, and that shift changes everything. Let me tell you about a trader named Alex. Passed 3 different prop firm evaluations, all on first attempts, never came close to breaching during challenges. Smooth, consistent, patient trading. Got funded each time, excited about the opportunity. Breached all 3 funded accounts within the first month. Same mistakes every time. Overprotective trading that caused him to skip good setups. Then frustration that led to revenge trading. Then breach. The cycle repeated 3 times before he realized what was happening. Alex's problem wasn't his strategy or his skills. It was the mental trap of transitioning from evaluation mode to funded mode. He didn't understand that the psychological environment had completely changed, and his brain was responding to that change in destructive ways. If you've passed an evaluation but struggled to keep your funded account, if you've noticed that your trading feels different once there's real capital on the line, if you've breached an account after passing the challenge easily, this video is going to explain exactly what's happening in your psychology. Because the mental trap of passing a prop firm evaluation isn't about your trading ability. It's about understanding that success in the evaluation phase creates specific psychological vulnerabilities in the funded phase. And until you recognize and address these vulnerabilities, you'll keep repeating the same pattern. The difference between traders who pass evaluations and traders who stay funded long-term isn't skill. It's psychological adaptation, the ability to maintain the same mental state that got you funded even when the stakes feel higher. Most traders never figure this out. They keep passing evaluations and breaching accounts, thinking they need to change their strategy or improve their discipline. But the strategy is fine. The discipline is fine. What needs to change is how they handle the psychological shift from evaluation to funded trading. Let me show you exactly what this mental trap looks like, why your brain falls into it, and most importantly, how to avoid it so you can actually keep the accounts you work so hard to get funded. The moment you receive that funding approval email, something shifts in your psychology. It's subtle at first, but it's powerful. Let's break down exactly what changes and why it matters. Change 1. From nothing to lose to everything to lose. During the evaluation, the worst-case scenario was clear and limited. You lose the challenge fee, maybe a couple $100. Disappointing, but not devastating. You can always try again. But once funded, your brain perceives the stakes as much higher. You've invested time and money into multiple attempts maybe. You've proven yourself. You have access to significant capital now. Losing this feels like a much bigger failure than losing a challenge. This perception shift activates what psychologists call loss aversion. The pain of losing something you have is about twice as intense as the pleasure of gaining something new. Your brain becomes hyper-focused on not losing the funded account, and this focus changes how you trade. Change 2, from process-focused to outcome-focused. During the evaluation, you were focused on executing your strategy. You knew that if you followed your process, you'd likely pass. The profit target was achievable through consistent execution. But once funded, many traders shift to outcome-focused thinking. They start thinking about how much money they could make, what percentage they could withdraw, how this could change their financial situation. This outcome focus creates pressure that interferes with process execution. You're no longer just executing trades. You're protecting potential income. You're managing what feels like a career opportunity. And this mental burden makes it harder to trade the same relaxed, confident way you did during the challenge. Change 3, from temporary to ongoing pressure. The evaluation had a clear endpoint. 30 days, hit the target, done. There was a finish line. This temporary nature of the pressure made it manageable. You could push through for a month. But the funded account has no endpoint. Every day is evaluation day. Every trade matters forever. There's no moment where you can relax and say you've made it. This ongoing pressure accumulates and creates chronic stress that the evaluation period didn't have. Change 4, the imposter syndrome activation. Deep down, many traders don't fully believe they deserve to be funded. They feel like they got lucky during the evaluation, or that they barely scraped by, or that the firm might realize they made a mistake funding them. This imposter syndrome creates anxiety. You feel like you need to prove that you belong, that you're really good enough. This need to prove yourself leads to either overtrading to show results or undertrading out of fear of making mistakes. Both destroy your edge. Change 5, the social pressure element. When you're just doing challenges, it's private. Nobody needs to know you failed. But once you're funded, you've probably told people, friends, family, other traders. Now there's social pressure. Losing the account means admitting failure publicly. This social pressure adds another layer of stress. You're not just trading for yourself anymore. You're trading under the eyes of people whose opinions you care about. This external pressure interferes with the internal focus you need to trade well. Change 6, rule anxiety intensification. During the evaluation, you knew the rules and followed them. But once funded, the rules feel more threatening. Violating drawdown limits or consistency rules now means losing access to capital, not just failing a challenge. This intensified rule anxiety creates the exact same hesitation and paranoia we talked about in other videos. You start second-guessing trades, overanalyzing setups, playing it too safe. The rules that were just guidelines during evaluation become psychological barriers once funded. Here's what makes this particularly insidious. All of these psychological changes happen without you consciously deciding to change your approach. Your brain automatically shifts into a different mode when the perceived stakes increase. You don't wake up thinking, I'm going to trade differently now. It just happens. And because it happens unconsciously, you don't realize why your trading has changed. You think you're following the same process, but your brain is actually operating in a completely different psychological state. The confidence and freedom that carried you through the evaluation have been replaced by caution and pressure. Professional traders who successfully maintain funded accounts understand this trap. They consciously work to maintain the same psychological state after funding that they had during evaluation. They recognize when their brain tries to shift into protection mode and actively counteract it. Amateur traders don't recognize the shift happening. They notice their results getting worse, but attribute it to bad luck, market conditions, or needing to refine their strategy. They don't see that the problem is purely psychological. Let me show you the 3 most common patterns of self-destruction that happen after traders get funded. Understanding these patterns helps you recognize them in your own trading before they cause a breach. Pattern 1. The overprotection death spiral. This is the most common way funded traders destroy their accounts. It starts with being extra careful because you don't want to lose the funded account. Seems reasonable, right? You start trading smaller position sizes than you did in the evaluation, even though the funded account is larger. You skip trades that are slightly uncertain, even though you would have taken them during the challenge. You exit winners early to lock in profit and create a buffer. This overprotective approach feels safe, but it's actually deadly. You're no longer trading your edge, you're trading your fear of losing the account, and fear-based trading is consistently unprofitable. Here's how it spirals. Because you're trading too small and too cautiously, you're not making the returns you should be. This creates frustration. You start feeling like you're wasting the opportunity, so you try to compensate by taking a bigger trade or being more aggressive. That aggressive trade loses because you're emotional now, not systematic. The loss triggers more fear and protection. You shrink back even more. The cycle continues with your trading getting smaller and more tentative, interrupted by occasional emotional trades that lose. Eventually, you're barely trading at all, and then one frustrated day, you overtrade and breach. Pattern 2. The proving yourself trap. This pattern comes from imposter syndrome. You pass the evaluation but don't quite believe you're as good as the results suggested, so you feel pressure to prove you belong. You start taking more trades than your strategy calls for, trying to show consistent profits. You hold winners longer than you should, hoping for impressive returns that validate you. You check your dashboard constantly to see if you're performing well enough. This need to prove yourself creates desperation in your trading. You're not executing a process anymore. You're trying to generate results that make you feel legitimate. And this desperation leads to overtrading, poor risk management, and emotional decisions. The irony is brutal. You passed the evaluation, which proved you can trade. But because you don't believe that proof, you trade in ways that guarantee you'll fail. The self-doubt creates the very failure you're afraid of. Pattern 3. The premature scaling disaster. Some traders go the opposite direction. They pass the evaluation so they feel invincible. They think they've cracked the code, and now it's time to maximize profits. They increase their position sizes aggressively. They start taking more trades because they're confident in their edge. They push harder, trade longer hours, look for more opportunities. They're trying to scale up their returns as fast as possible. This aggressive scaling seems like the smart move. You have access to capital. Why not use it? But here's the problem. Your edge was proven at certain position sizes and trade frequencies. When you scale up too fast, you're operating outside the parameters where you know your strategy works. Bigger positions mean bigger psychological pressure on each trade. More trades mean lower quality setups. Longer hours mean mental fatigue. All of these factors degrade your decision-making and execution quality. Usually what happens is the trader has a big winning day or week with this aggressive approach. This feels like confirmation that scaling up was the right move. But then, variance hits. A few losses in a row at the larger size, and suddenly they're close to breaching. Now they're in panic mode. They've given back the gains and they're close to losing the account. They start revenge trading to recover. They make emotional decisions, and they breach, wondering how they went from passing easily to losing the account so fast. All three of these patterns stem from the same root cause, the psychological shift from evaluation mindset to funded mindset. Your brain perceives higher stakes, and this perception changes your behavior in ways that destroy your edge. The overprotective trader is responding to fear of loss. The proving trader is responding to insecurity and imposter syndrome. The scaling trader is responding to greed and overconfidence. Different emotional drivers, but all creating the same result, trading that doesn't match the process that got them funded. Here's what you need to understand. The strategy that passed the evaluation was working. Your execution during the challenge was good enough. You don't need to change anything about how you trade. What you need to change is how you think about being funded. The funded account isn't actually higher stakes. It's the same stakes. You're risking the same percentage per trade. You're following the same strategy. The only thing that's different is your perception, and that perception is lying to you. Let's get practical. How do you maintain the same psychology after getting funded that you had during the evaluation? How do you avoid the mental traps we've discussed? Strategy 1. Treat the funded account exactly like the evaluation. This is the most important mental reframe. The funded account is just another evaluation that happens to pay you. The rules are similar, the process is the same, the execution should be identical. Stop thinking of it as my funded account that I need to protect. Start thinking of it as the current phase of my trading journey where I execute my proven process. This removes the psychological weight that causes all the problems. When you sit down to trade, don't check how much buying power you have or calculate potential monthly income. Just trade your setups the same way you did in the challenge. Same position sizing relative to account size, same entry criteria, same risk management. Strategy 2. Use the same position size you used in evaluation. Many traders make the mistake of sizing up when they get funded because the account is bigger. But your position size during evaluation proved your edge. Why change it? Keep your risk per trade at the same percentage. If you were risking 1% per trade in the evaluation, risk 1% in the funded account. Don't scale up just because you have access to more capital. Trade the same way that got you funded. This consistency removes the psychological pressure of trading bigger. It keeps you in the same mental comfort zone where you know you can execute well. Strategy 3. Set a daily stop out that's well before breach territory. During evaluation, you knew you had room to have bad days. Apply the same principle to funded trading. Decide in advance that if you lose a certain amount in a day, you stop. This stop out should be conservative, maybe 30 to 40% of your daily drawdown limit. This gives you a psychological safety buffer. You know you won't breach even if you have a rough day, so you can trade without the constant fear of hitting limits. Having this buffer reduces anxiety and allows you to execute trades with the same confidence you had during evaluation. Strategy 4. Withdrawal strategy matters psychologically. Some traders never withdraw profits, thinking they should compound everything. But this creates increasing pressure as the account grows. The more you have, the more you have to lose. Instead, withdraw regularly. Maybe every month take out 50% of your profits. This serves two purposes. First, you're actually benefiting from the funded account, which was the whole point. Second, it keeps your account size relatively stable, which keeps the psychological pressure stable. When your funded account stays around the same size, your brain doesn't perceive increasing stakes. You're trading the same size account with the same rules, just like during evaluation. Strategy 5. Forget you're being evaluated. This seems impossible, but it's crucial. During live trading, don't think about prop firm rules, evaluations, or whether your performance is good enough. Just trade. The evaluation phase is over. You passed. Now you're just executing a trading strategy. The prop firm aspect is administrative background noise. Focus on your charts, your setups, your execution. Let the prop firm worry about tracking your performance. This mental separation prevents the evaluation anxiety that causes hesitation and overthinking. Strategy 6. Expect to eventually breach and be okay with it. This might sound defeatist, but it's actually liberating. If you accept that breaching is possible and not the end of the world, you remove the fear that causes protective trading. You've proven you can pass evaluations. If you breach this account, you can get funded again. This knowledge takes away the desperate need to protect this specific account, which allows you to trade normally. Paradoxically, accepting that you might breach makes breaching less likely because you're trading from confidence instead of fear. Strategy 7. Keep a trading journal comparing evaluation to funded performance. Track not just your trades, but your psychological state. Are you taking the same number of trades, same position sizes, same confidence level on entries? When you notice differences, ask yourself why. Usually the answer is psychological pressure making you trade differently. Recognizing this allows you to course correct before it causes major problems. The key principle is this: nothing should change between evaluation and funded Accept the account number you're logging into. Same strategy, same execution, same psychology. If you find yourself trading differently, you've fallen into the mental trap. Let me share what happened with Alex, the trader who breached 3 funded accounts after passing evaluations easily. After the 3rd breach, he finally understood what was happening. It wasn't his strategy failing. It was his psychology changing after getting funded. For his 4th attempt, he made a commitment. He would trade the funded account exactly like the evaluation. Same position sizes, same risk per trade, same selectivity, same confidence level. He would treat it like an ongoing evaluation, not like a precious resource to protect. The first week was hard. His brain kept trying to shift into protection mode. He kept wanting to size down, skip trades, play it safe, but he consciously resisted these urges and forced himself to trade the same way he did during the challenge. By week 3, something clicked. Trading the funded account started feeling normal instead of special. The psychological pressure faded. He stopped thinking about it as the funded account I need to keep and started thinking about it as where I execute my trading process. That was 18 months ago. Alex is still trading the same funded account. He's had drawdown periods and winning periods. He's withdrawn over $30,000 in profits, and he trades with the same calm confidence he had during his evaluations. The transformation wasn't in his technical skills. It was purely psychological. He learned to maintain evaluation mindset even after getting funded. Here's what you need to understand if you're struggling to keep funded accounts. You're not a bad trader. You proved you can trade profitably during the evaluation. The only thing stopping you from staying funded is the mental trap of treating funded trading differently from evaluation trading. Your brain wants to make it feel different because it perceives higher stakes. But that perception is wrong. The stakes are exactly the same. You're following the same rules, trading the same strategy, managing the same risk per trade. The only difference is psychological. So here's the test. Can you sit down at a funded account and trade with the exact same mental state you had during the evaluation? Can you take trades without thinking this is funded capital? Can you accept losses without panicking about protecting the account? If yes, you'll stay funded. If no, you'll keep breaching until you learn this psychological skill. Most traders who fail to stay funded never figure this out. They think they need a better strategy or more discipline or stricter rules, but their strategy was proven during evaluation. Their discipline was sufficient to pass. Their rules are fine. What they need is psychological consistency, the ability to maintain the same mindset across different phases of prop firm trading. Some traders never develop this ability. They keep passing evaluations and breaching accounts, trapped in the cycle. Others eventually figure it out, usually after multiple breaches force them to recognize the psychological pattern. You can skip the painful learning cycle by understanding this now. Before your next funded account, commit to trading it exactly like an evaluation. No changes in position sizing, trade frequency, or mental approach. Just consistent execution of the process that got you funded. If you currently have a funded account and you're feeling the pressure, recognize it for what it is. Your brain trying to protect something it perceives as valuable. But that protective instinct is actually the threat. Trading from protection mode guarantees failure. Shift back to execution mode. Focus on process, not on protecting the account. Trade your strategy the same way you always have. Let the results take care of themselves. And if you breach, don't spiral into self-doubt. Review what happens psychologically. Did you trade differently than during evaluation? Did you let fear or pressure change your execution? Learn from it. Pass another evaluation and apply that learning to your next funded account. The path to staying funded long-term isn't mysterious. It's maintaining psychological consistency across evaluation and funded phases. That's it. That's the whole secret. So here's my challenge to you. If you're about to get funded or currently have a funded account, write down exactly how you traded during your evaluation. Position sizes, trade frequency, confidence level, emotional state, everything. Then commit to trading the funded account exactly the same way.
No protective downsizing, no aggressive scaling, no psychological shifts, just the same process that proved itself during evaluation. If this video helped you understand why you've been struggling to keep funded accounts, hit that like button and subscribe. I create content that addresses the real psychological challenges in trading, the ones that actually determine success or failure. Drop a comment and share your experience. Have you noticed trading differently after getting funded? Have you breached accounts after passing evaluations easily? What psychological patterns have you recognized? Let's learn from each other. And if you know another trader caught in the cycle of passing evaluations but breaching funded accounts, share this with them. Understanding the mental trap is the first step to escaping it. Thanks for watching. Remember, you already proved you can trade profitably during your evaluation. The only thing between you and staying funded long-term is maintaining that same psychology. Don't let your brain convince you that funded trading is different. It's not. Trade the same way, trust your proven process, and you'll keep the accounts you work so hard to get. The market doesn't care whether you're in evaluation or funded. Your strategy doesn't work differently based on account type. The only variable is your psychology. Master that, and staying funded becomes automatic. I'll see you in the next one. Keep your execution consistent, trust what got you funded, and stop letting psychological pressure change what already works.